In this video, we're talking about playground etiquette, and I'm going to share 10 tips with you to help your experience with your children at the playground go more smoothly. Welcome to Learning with Love. On our channel, our goal is to help you great dedicated parents be the kind of parents that you're striving to be by offering you actionable, practical, useful parenting advice and support to help your experience with your children be the best it can be. I hope you like this video. If you do, give us a like and consider subscribing to our channel for more parenting tips and tricks. If you hit the bell, then you'll be notified immediately as soon as our latest videos come out. The playground can be fraught with lots of kid and parent drama, so I want to jump in right away with 10 tips that are going to help you get going and help your experience for everybody at the playground be more fun. I strongly recommend that if you want to bring any toys to the park, ask your child first any toys that they bring, are they willing to share them with other children there? And if they are, go ahead and bring those toys. That way you can feel kind and generous in offering those toys to other children when they ask. Your children may ask other children to borrow their toys. Those children may not always reciprocate, so you have to be prepared to get a no if they ask, but it's certainly polite and no problem to ask to have a turn. Number 2, snacks at the park. In general, I recommend either trying to go and eat your lunch separately at the park and not have your children walk around with snacks, because then other children will start looking at those and get hungry and ask for them. But it may happen, and that's okay. The main thing is you want to be sure that if another child is asking to have one of your child's snack, that you always ask a parent first, because you never want to feed another child a snack without their parents' permission. You never know about food allergies or restrictions or anything like that. So just ask first if you want to share snacks. Okay, swings. If your children are anything like mine, they could stay on the swings all day long. So eventually you want them to get off, and you want them to do it in as calm a way as possible. So I recommend counting down from 10 when you're at your last 10 swings. So you say, we're going to get off the swing on the count of 10. And you push, count 10, 9, 8, etc. and then say all done when you're done. That helps your children prepare for those transitions, and it makes them so much easier. You can use the same technique if there's a line of kids forming that want to use the swing next. You say, okay, we're going to swing for another 2 minutes, and then we're going to give the swing to somebody else. And again, count down your last 10 swings, and they'll get used to that transition, and it makes it go much more smoothly. With lots of things at the playground, sometimes children need to take turns because there isn't the availability for everybody to use it at once. If your child is nonverbal, you can ask the other child, excuse me, may my child have a turn next? However, as soon as your child is able to do this, which can be as young as age 2, encourage your child to ask, may I have a turn, please? And that encourages your child to learn to start speaking up for themselves in a polite way. Beyond that, if the other child is not being accommodating, you have to keep in mind that it's not your role to parent another child. So it may be annoying, that other child may not be generous, but you're not in control of that situation. So I would suggest your child to go and try something else. Managing conflict. It's kind of the same techniques with managing conflict at the park. If your child is pre-verbal, you can step in and talk on their behalf and say, would you please stop doing that? If your child can speak up for themselves, encourage them to do that. Even coach them through what to say. Would you please stop touching me? Or whatever it is that they're doing. That creates an independent child who feels confident in speaking up for themselves when they have a problem with another child. And then lastly, always keep in mind, it's not your role to parent another child. So if a child is becoming increasingly problematic, your kid has the option to either move away from that kid, or then you can go take it up with that child's parent if you feel a need to resolve the conflict. Being inclusive. You want to encourage your child to be the friendliest kid at the park. So hopefully you can encourage them to invite other kids to join their playgroup. However, if the child doesn't want to play with kids who are maybe not being very nice or not being very kind, I wouldn't force them to do it. You know, it's their social time too, so if they can be more inclusive, that's great, but they should not be forced to be. Parent. You want to find the sweet spot here between being available to your child when they need you and not hovering over them and directing their play. So everybody hates a parent who's totally disengaged and they're on their cell phone when their kid is causing havoc. On the other hand, you can have parents who are very much micromanaging their child's play and not allowing them to be free and take risks on the playground. You want to find that sweet spot. For great attachment, what is perfect for little kids is when they know that you're a safe home base, that they can always come back to you and get a snuggle if they fall down, but that they feel free to go away from you, to go try out things in the world by themselves. So hopefully you want to be there, you want to kiss any boo-boos, and you want to send them off on their own in a safe play space so that they can go out and explore it on their own. Allow for creativity. It's okay for your children to enjoy a playground in the way that they like. One common example of this is kids wanting to climb up the slide. That's actually really good for balance, and they can practice their own little risk-taking and sliding down. I don't see a problem with that. However, if other kids want to use the slide, then you're going to have to direct your children and say, please move away from the base of the slide and please take turns and use it normally. But if nobody's there, go ahead. They're welcome to go ahead and try to use the equipment in a way that is stimulating and fun for them. Risk management. The playground is a great place for your child to explore their own physicality, their own balance, their own physical abilities, to explore their own emotional response between what's thrilling and what's truly scary. So by allowing them to explore their own bodies and their own levels of risk, they learn a lot of physical self-confidence, and you don't want to get in the way of that process. So you want to let them take little falls. The only thing I would suggest, you want to look out for big risks. So a lot of playgrounds these days have high gaps that are about 6 feet off the floor, and those are not appropriate for children who are like 2 and younger. But once they have a grip on those small little falls, they're actually going to be much safer when they get up there when they're a little older. So you want to allow them that process. Another thing that helps keep them safer throughout that process is actually don't push them up on equipment that they're not ready for. So I encourage you to let your kids climb up on equipment that they can get to, and then they get the sense of satisfaction once they've accomplished it, and they're safer once they get there. So for example, if there's a climbing wall, you don't want to push your kid up higher than they can manage on the climbing wall. You actually want to let them get as high as they can comfortably climb. Sometimes the hardest part about the playground is getting out of there. So I suggest 2 quick things to help with that transition. Number 1, give them a heads up before you're about to leave by saying something like, okay, 2 minutes before we're about to go. And then right when you're leaving, say, okay, would you like to do one last slide on your way out? That tends to really make the transition go much more smoothly, and particularly if you stick to that, leaving the park gets easier and easier every time. So I definitely suggest that. I hope you find these tips helpful for the next time you're at the playground. Please go ahead and let me know in the comments below how they worked out for you, or maybe if you have your own tips to add for other parents. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give us a like. It's really important to us and I really appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you next time on Learning with Love.